Obviously, a very disappointing loss last Saturday. You know, one of the things that I've always believed in football is it's the offensive job to score one more point than your opponent scores, and it's the defensive job to hold them to less than 1 point so you can find a way to win the game. You know, there was a lot of years where we would have shootouts and go back and forth, and offensively you'd have the ball last and win the game. Unfortunately, we're not consistent enough right now offensively to be able to handle that. You know, we got in a situation where we were one score away and had opportunities, had plays there, and didn't make the plays, and ended up losing the game at the end. It's not how we expect our defense to play. It's not how they've played all year. You know, there's been a lot of games this year where the defense has bailed the offense out and found a way to hold them to one less point, and we've had a good team win. But so I think it's a total team loss. You know, you win together and you lose together, and that's how football is. And so yesterday we came in, we watched the video, we made corrections, and now it's time to move on and get ready for this game coming up on Saturday. It's obviously a huge game for us, Louisville, Kentucky. Certainly a rivalry game, and certainly one that we're looking forward to. I know our guys will come out and have a lot of energy, and we need to practice well. We need to practice with good focus. Not sure who will start at quarterback. You know, in the game the other day, they made good plays at times. They made bad plays at times. So we got to get out on the practice field and figure it out on the practice field. With that, I'll just open it up for questions.
Do you see any similarities between, yourself and Kentucky? They've had some quarterback issues as well, some defensive problems, and have been good at times as well. Is there any similarities between you guys?
Yeah, I mean, we don't really look into what's similar or that. We're just trying to prepare for the game and watching what they do schematically and what their players' abilities are, and how they play and what we think we need to do to win the game. So that's something as a staff we've never really thought of. Well, Kyle took us down and got us a lead, made some good throws, did a nice job on a naked, threw a touchdown, came back in one series and got the ball to Jamari down the middle. The next play, a touchdown pass in the end zone. But he missed some things in the run game. He missed some things in the quick passing game that, he normally wouldn't do. And then the interception, obviously we all know about that. Lamar came in, I thought had some energy, made some real nice play there before half to get us in the end zone, which gave us a chance. We did have great energy in the locker room. You're down like that, but there's guys in the locker room that are walking around telling everyone we're going to find a way to come back and win the game and showing great leadership. I don't think there was not one player on our team that didn't play hard and compete in the second half and try to find a way for us to win. So we have to build off of that. That's what we have to take and build off of.
Just seven carries for the running back. So.
Yeah, I mean, that ends up being one of those things where part of the game plan was to come out early and throw the ball. We know they like to run their linebackers through and play kind of an umbrella-type coverage, and we did that pretty effectively. And then that second quarter, everything got out of hand in a hurry. And it wasn't just the defense. We had a couple punts that didn't go as far as they normally would, and we had a 3-and-out on offense with bad field position. But then it's a time where, hey, it's hard to call runs. You're trying to go fast and trying to find a way to get back in the game. And we did. But it just wasn't one of those days where we could really execute the game plan that we went in with.
Bobby, what's Jamar's status? Do you have it?
We're hopeful that he'll get ready to play. The good thing is it was not a head injury. He's got a shoulder. He's been in getting treatment. I think he's going to come out here and talk to y'all here in a little bit. But I'm hopeful that he'll find a way to get ready to play. He certainly had a great game. You're talking about someone competing extremely hard and making plays, and doing everything he can possibly do, run after catch, probably the best we've seen him run after catch, and, the more opportunities you get, the better you get at it.
What do you kind of think about the Arnold in the last game? Still not sure who you're going to start.
Yeah, that's hard. It is hard. But it's kind of how it played out. It's how it played out. You would have liked to seen us come out last week and play and do everything right and it not be an issue. But we made some errors. We decided to make a switch, try to get some momentum. Went in there. He did some good things. I don't think that we can make a determination by sitting in our office. I think we need to get out on the field and go out there and practice and see who's doing the best job of leading and who's doing the best job in their preparation to determine who's going to be the starter.
Bobby, do you think sometimes a single game can define a season? And if so, what does this game mean for your team and the outlook overall of the season?
Yeah, I've never really thought one game defines a season. I think, you play one game at a time, and then when the season's over, then you go back and evaluate everything and see, where we could have done things better, what we did well, what the issues are for next year. So we're just going to play one game at a time. But this is a big game. This is a game for, in the state of Kentucky, and something I've always enjoyed coaching in.
How quickly did you realize that when you come here, whether it was your first stint with John L. or as a head coach, how much this means to the community?
Yeah, I think that you right away. I remember when I first came here and moved out into Glen Mary and walked out of my front door and saw a Kentucky flag right across the street. And the hair on the back of my neck stands up, and how can this happen? What is this? But that's how it is. Louisville being the big city, and a lot of Kentucky fans live right next door to you. Then get to go to a basketball game, and see that atmosphere and that competition. Then my first game out here in Papa John's Stadium was a very hot game. They were packing guys to the hospital, and Couch was throwing touchdowns, and Redmond was throwing touchdowns. I remember all of that, So it doesn't take you long to understand, about a rivalry.
So do these games, do they stand out for you? You remember that one? You remember, is it more than even other game? You remember Eric Shelton running out the clock in your first game as a head coach?
Yeah, I pretty much remember.
Every game?
Pretty much, yeah.
How do you like this game at the end of the year versus to start the year or second or third like it's been?
Yeah, I think it is what it is now, and it's rivalry weekend, and that's when we're going to play it. Let's enjoy it. Let's get ready for it, and it doesn't really matter what it was before. This is where we're at now. So what we need to do is take care of our business leading up to the game and then go out and play.
Bobby, when you look at Kentucky, what are your first impressions?
Defensively, I think they're good. They do a good job. People don't get a lot of yards rushing on them and passing on them. They've had good success on third down, so I think it's a great challenge for us. Offensively, they ran the ball really well last week. They've had games where they've thrown it well. So I think it's important for us to really do a good job getting ready. And like all games, you got to go in and be able to stop the run first.
There was last year, some pregame antics that happened on the field. Do you address that with your team this year to maybe stop that from happening again?
Yeah, none of us want to see that. None of us want to see that. That's not how it should be in football. It's always hard for me to understand when there's big game on the line and somebody gets a 15-yard penalty. But I was proud of some of our guys in pregame because there were some guys that were surrounded that kept their poise, got hit in the face mask and didn't do anything back. So I was proud of their poise in that.
How much is your own record, which is obviously very good against Kentucky, a point of pride for you? Or if it was different or worse, how much would that maybe what people think of you?
Yeah, I really don't think about that because each team's different, and it's about the players. It's not like my record. It's the players that played here, and the guys that played in the games, and I was fortunate enough to be able to coach some of the great players that played here and competed here and found ways to win with that team. You know, that's the one thing that you always talk about, and this will be our seniors' last regular season game. But the last time this group plays together, this team plays together, and you always have memories of the particular teams that you coach and the guys that played on them.
How much do you think those seniors, the same as last year's seniors, succeeded, I guess, and never lose to Kentucky? Is that a big thing for them?
I think it is, yeah. I mean, I think that's something that they take pride in and something they would love to accomplish.
You talk about the atmosphere there, and obviously it's been impossible to come up front. How do you talk to the players and deal with them this week about that, sort of, especially Ken Block now?
Yeah, you know, first you got to deal with the noise, and we got to be able to execute, not make mistakes, and you know, so part of practice will be being able to work and do that. And then I think you just have to focus and concentrate, and you know, not let the outside influences distract you. And that's part of being a football team that can go play on the road and playing big games on the road. You know, I think we've had some advantages in the fact that we opened the season in Atlanta at Auburn in a huge atmosphere, loud crowd, played at Florida State, you know, so it shouldn't be unfamiliar to us.
What impressed you about Boone Williams, whether on film from your game last year or you've seen from him?
Yeah, I mean, I think he's a really good player, and his ability to run, and, you know, we've got to be able to tackle him. You know, that was one of the things we were working hard at is tackling better. We missed some tackles in the open field the other day, so that's a concern for us.
You may be surprised Trevion Samuel's been as good and been able to contribute as much as he has this year. I mean, he's a little guy, but he makes plays and stuff for you, and he had that touchdown.
Yeah.
last weekend.
You know, one of the things that's funny about that is during practice last week, I said to our assistant coaches, I said, Trevion's going to have a good game this week. He's the fastest guy out here practicing. Nobody's covering him, and he looks faster than he has all year long. And we actually inserted him into the game to run that route, and it was one of the routes that showed up in practice, and he ran a great route, made a great catch. I think he's going to be a dynamic player before it's over with. I think it'll help when we use him more and use his abilities more. You know, I've always felt like when you're a good offense and you're experienced on the offensive line, that you can do almost anything. You can put new plays in, you can run trick plays, you can do this, and it just all works. You know, when you got like LeFew and Spitz and Woods and Foster and, you know, Big Kurt, that they just make it all happen because they know the game so well and nothing's really new to them. But it's kind of hard now to do that because it's all new. You know, it's all new to so many guys. It's hard to put a play in, execute it for 3 days, and then have it work in the game.
That line seemed to take a couple steps forward the past couple of games, and then Saturday happened. Was it a step back for them, and how do they recover?
Yeah, I mean, it was a step back for the offense in as far as executing and getting parts of the running game in. You know, there were some things we did really well. We threw the ball for 350 yards. We scored 34 points. You know, it wasn't like the defense scored points or got them in special teams. The offense drove the ball and went and scored points. So there are some positive things there too. But, you know, again, I talk about sacks. Sacks are about the 11 guys on offense. All 11 guys contributed to sacks, whether it's the quarterback holding the ball, not knowing the pressure's coming, or a lineman not picking it up. It's, you know, it's the entire group, and that's where we are not as consistent as we need to be yet.
You talked about Saturday, Lamar keeping his eyes downfield. How do you develop that? Is that just experience thing, or?
Yeah, I mean, you develop it in practice and games and, you know, being able to concentrate and focus downfield, you know. And I think there's a number of quarterbacks out there that are having great years this year that I remember 2 or 3 years ago them struggling, you know, and understanding how fast the game is and how quick people blitz and how much people disguise. And so it's all just learning and growing up and getting better.
Kentucky's had some struggle, I think, like Mississippi State, struggles against running quarterbacks. I mean, is that an opportunity for Lamar, you think?
Hopefully he'll be able to run the ball. You know, that's something that's one of his strengths. And He certainly, I think, is something that he's good at and does a good job of running the football, whether it's called plays or improvising off of drop back passes.
It's a rivalry, obviously. How much do you actually go against them head-to-head in recruiting?
You know, we do some. I think you know you match up some, and some kids you don't. But we recruit, you know, mostly in the South, so we don't really go into Ohio that much and see some of those guys. But there's a lot of kids that you recruit against each other.
What's your thought about the prospect of 5 and 17 season?
It's something you don't want to think about. You know, it's something that's hard to think about.
Too many bowls?
There could be, if you're getting down to that, you know. I think the one thing that is good about bowl games is that you're able to reward the players for a hard year of work, you know. And if they can have some enjoyment out of it, and they can have a good experience, a positive experience that leads to helping them throughout the rest of their life, then they're probably worth having. And, you know, but there seems to be that's a 5 and 7. That's kind of hard.
Do you ever worry that an opponent has maybe more motivating factors coming into a game, and is this a case of that this week with them trying to get bowl eligible, and then also the streak that you have going into this rivalry?
No, you just play. You just go practice and play and try to do your job. You know, I think that's one of the things as a coach, what you try to do is just prepare your team for what we need to do to get ready to go win a game. And you really don't think of anything else but that.
I know you can't get-
13 or 14 FBS openings already. I think Syracuse fired their coach today. There's talk that Miles might be out of LSU. How much more unforgiving has the profession become since you've been there?
I mean, a lot. You know, they used to never see anyone fired during the season. You know, you always wonder how's that fair to the players on that team, or, you know, but it's all probably because of the salaries we're all paid now. You know, that's changed a lot too. So with the increase there and the pressure and the, you know, the media and the way everything's covered, that's all different, way different than when, you know, I first got in the profession. So it's just part of.
Better or for the worse?
Yeah, I mean, I hate to see somebody fired in the middle of the season. You know, even like these recent ones, I was saying, why couldn't they wait till like next Sunday? You know, I just think that it's hard enough coaching young guys that have interests in school, things outside of school. You know, it's still hard to motivate them, to keep their attention, to keep their focus. And now all of a sudden they know you're not coaching them next year. You know, I think that challenges everything for a young man. You know, for him to be able to keep his focus and keep his respect and keep doing the things you've been doing. You know, there's even been, you know, bowl games sometimes are hard when you're coaching seniors that are no longer going to be here anymore. You know, we've had challenges in that sometimes. So I just think that's really hard.
Oh, you talked about Lamar and making some mistakes the other day, but talk about his attitude for when he didn't play for a couple of weeks, and as a freshman, not all freshmen would come in and perform like he did.
Yeah, I mean, he's had a great attitude. I think he's really worked hard out at practice. He's been very, very positive. He's worked hard on the technique and fundamentals that we're working to get better. He's never pouted, you know. That says a lot right there. And that's all the quarterbacks. I've felt like all of them have been very good with their attitude and their ability to encourage each other. So it's a good group. It's a fun group to be around and coach.
Bobby, for both programs, this probably, the season didn't work out the way a lot might have thought in terms of positive way. How much is this game a sort of a second chance in terms of a fun, kind of, for lack of a better word, sexy way to sink the teeth into something to finish strong? You know what I'm saying? Where this would be.
You guys think about things a lot different than I do. You know, I just think this is a game, man. This is a rivalry. This is Louisville, Kentucky. Let's go prepare. Let's practice hard. Let's go out and compete hard and play the game and enjoy the game, enjoy the atmosphere. You know, have it fun for the crowd, fun for the people that, you know, can call a better play than I can. You know, that's one of the things I've always known is that I call a play and that there's 55,000 people in the stands that can call a better one. You know, I remember one time going with a buddy of mine who was an electrician, and at the time he was fixing gas pumps. And I drove with him. I think I might have been over Easter. Me and my wife went skiing, and he got called out. So I went with him, and he sat there, and I watched him do his job. I couldn't say one word to him. He got in the car, and I said, "Man, you got a great job." He said, "What are you talking about?" I said, "I have no advice for you. I don't know anything about what you just did. But everybody knows what I do. Everybody can be better at what I do." You know, so that's just kind of how I just look at it. Let's go play. This is great. This is fun. We got good team. I like the guys on our team. Let's go coach hard and go play the game and enjoy it.
You're obviously above all this.
But does anything stand out about Commonwealth Stadium and their crowd?
Well, it might be fun to see the new stadium. You know, I haven't been in it since they redid it. The number one memory I have going back there is getting all ready for the game, and the lightning struck, and the rain came down, and they emptied the stadium. And here's my first game coaching college football, and I got to stand in the hallway and wait for like an hour and 40 minutes. And about 15 minutes into it, my little brother's in there coaching the offense up, going back and forth, and Eric Shelton finally said, "Coach, we got it. Relax." And so I kicked the coaches out of the room and said, "Just let them relax, and you know, let's stop coaching for right now and get ready to go play the game."
Last question. You're obviously above all of the partisan squabbling, but do you think your players find any motivation in preventing Kentucky from going to a bowl?
I would hope they don't even think about that. It's really about us winning and finishing our season and, you know, playing for our seniors and taking care of our business. I think that's what the number one thing is.